After 60, the most dangerous belief about blood pressure isn't that it's high. It's that there's one perfect number everyone should chase. For years, you've probably heard the same phrase repeated again and again. Just keep it at 120/80. But here's the uncomfortable truth most seniors are never told. That number can be helpful for some people and harmful for others. I've seen older adults proudly hit perfect blood pressure numbers, only to become dizzy, weak, and unsteady on their feet. I've also seen seniors with slightly higher numbers who walk confidently, sleep well, and live independently for years. So which one is right? The truth is, after 60, blood pressure isn't about a single ideal number. It's about an ideal range that fits your body. Your arteries change with age. Your nervous system reacts differently. Your balance, kidney function, and brain circulation all become more sensitive to pressure shifts. Lower is not always safer. Higher is not always dangerous. Today, I'm going to explain what doctors really mean when they talk about ideal blood pressure after 60. We'll break down what the guidelines say, what the research shows, and why two people the same age can need very different targets. By the end of this video, you'll understand why chasing the wrong number can quietly increase fall risk, fatigue, and even cognitive problems. Before we go further, let me ask you something important. Where are you watching from today? How old are you, and do you usually check your blood pressure at home or only at the doctor's office? Before we talk about numbers and targets, we need to clarify one crucial question that most seniors are never encouraged to ask. What does ideal blood pressure really mean? When doctors talk about ideal blood pressure, most seniors assume it means one exact number that guarantees safety and long life. In reality, the word ideal does not mean perfect or fixed, especially after 60. It means the pressure range that keeps your organs protected while allowing your body to function safely day to day. After 60, blood pressure has three jobs at the same time. First, it must be low enough to reduce long-term risks like stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. Second, it must be high enough to maintain steady blood flow to the brain when you stand, walk, or turn quickly. Third, it must support quality of life, clear thinking, stable balance, and enough energy to stay active. This is where many seniors get confused. A number that looks excellent on paper can still cause dizziness, fatigue, blurred vision, or unsteadiness. And a number that looks slightly high may actually be safer for someone whose body cannot tolerate aggressive lowering. After 60, arteries become stiffer and less elastic. This changes how pressure moves through the body and how quickly it adjusts when you change position. The nervous system also responds more slowly, making sudden drops in blood pressure more dangerous than they were at 40. That is why doctors no longer think in terms of one perfect number. They think in terms of a safe zone, sometimes called a target range. Inside this range, blood pressure protects your heart and brain without increasing fall risk or daily weakness. So when you hear ideal blood pressure, do not ask, what is the number? Ask instead, what range keeps me steady, alert, and protected based on my age, health, and daily life? That shift in thinking is the foundation for everything we are about to discuss next. Once we understand what ideal blood pressure truly means for the aging body, the next step is to examine the target numbers major medical guidelines recommend, and why those numbers are not all the same. One of the most confusing things for seniors is hearing different ideal blood pressure numbers depending on which doctor, country, or article they listen to. Some say your pressure should be below 130/80. Others say 140 is fine. And for people over 80, some guidelines allow even higher numbers. This is not because doctors can't agree. It's because guidelines are built for populations, while real people age very differently. In the United States, many recommendations emphasize tighter blood pressure control, often aiming for values below 130/80 when it can be safely tolerated. The goal behind these lower targets is to reduce long-term risks such as stroke, heart attack, and heart failure. Large studies showed that in selected older adults who were relatively healthy, lower targets reduced cardiovascular events. But here's the key detail that often gets missed. These studies generally involve seniors who were carefully monitored, relatively robust, and not prone to frequent falls or severe dizziness. They were not meant to represent every 65, 75, or 85-year-old living independently in the real world. In Europe, guidelines take a slightly different approach. They place much more emphasis on age groups and tolerance. For adults between 65 and 79, doctors may aim for lower pressures if the person feels well and remains steady. For those over 80, especially if they are frail or have multiple medical conditions, the target is often higher to prioritize safety and daily functioning. The United Kingdom's guidance reflects this same cautious mindset. In very old adults, treatment decisions often begin at higher blood pressure thresholds, especially when symptoms like dizziness or falls are a concern. The focus shifts from "how low can we go" to "how safe can we keep you?" So why do these numbers differ? Because the risks change with age. Lower blood pressure reduces stroke risk, but it also increases the risk of falls, fainting, and reduced blood flow to the brain in vulnerable seniors. That is why no responsible guideline says, "This one number fits everyone over 60." Each framework gives doctors room to adjust based on strength, balance, kidney function, medications, and daily independence. When seniors compare their numbers to a single chart online, they often miss this context. Guidelines are not commandments. They are tools meant to be adapted to the person sitting in front of the doctor. Understanding this explains why two people the same age can receive very different advice, and both can be correct. Blood pressure targets differ because aging bodies differ, and safety matters just as much as prevention. To understand why blood pressure targets change after 60, we need to look at the science behind both sides of the equation. Lowering blood pressure can be life-saving, but lowering it too aggressively can also create new dangers in an aging body. Both statements are true at the same time. Let's start with the benefits. Decades of research clearly show that uncontrolled high blood pressure increases the risk of stroke, heart attack, heart failure, and kidney damage. Lowering blood pressure reduces the strain on blood vessel walls and protects delicate organs from long-term injury. In healthier older adults, especially those without frequent dizziness or balance issues, careful blood pressure reduction can significantly lower cardiovascular events. This is why many studies found strong benefits when systolic blood pressure was lowered compared to older, looser targets. For seniors with good muscle strength, stable balance, and intact kidney function, lower targets often translate into longer life and fewer major heart events. In these individuals, the body can adapt to lower pressure without compromising daily function. But here is the other half of the story that matters even more after 60. Blood pressure is not just about preventing strokes years from now. It is also about keeping blood flowing to the brain right now, especially when you stand, walk, or change position. As we age, arteries stiffen and lose their ability to cushion pressure changes. The nervous system becomes slower at correcting sudden drops in blood pressure. This makes older adults far more vulnerable to dizziness, lightheadedness, and fainting when pressure falls too low. When blood pressure drops excessively, brain perfusion can suffer. That may not cause immediate collapse, but it can lead to confusion, fatigue, blurred vision, and unsteady walking. Over time, these effects increase fall risk, one of the most serious threats to independence in older adults. Research has consistently shown that overly aggressive blood pressure lowering in frail seniors is associated with higher rates of falls and injuries. Falls are not minor events after 60. They are a leading cause of fractures, hospitalization, and loss of independence. Kidney function also deserves special attention. Older kidneys rely on adequate blood pressure to filter waste efficiently. Lowering pressure too much can reduce kidney perfusion, especially in people already taking multiple medications. This is where the balance becomes critical. The goal is not simply to lower blood pressure. The goal is to lower it enough to protect the heart and brain without compromising balance, cognition, and daily safety. That balance point is different for every older adult. A target that protects one person may endanger another. This is why modern medicine emphasizes individualized blood pressure goals rather than universal numbers. Understanding both the benefits and the risks explains why doctors hesitate to push every senior toward the lowest possible reading. After 60, the safest blood pressure is not the lowest one you can achieve. It is the lowest one you can tolerate without losing stability, clarity, or confidence. Now that we understand the science behind both the benefits and the risks of lowering blood pressure in older adults, we can translate that knowledge into practice by defining the ideal blood pressure zone across 4 senior groups. After the age of 60, the safest way to think about blood pressure is no longer as a single perfect number, but as a personalized safety zone that supports daily function. This zone is not fixed because it shifts depending on age, physical resilience, medical conditions, medication burden, and how the body responds during real everyday activities. To make this concept practical, many experienced physicians mentally organize older adults into 4 broad senior groups, each with different priorities, risks, and tolerance levels. Group 1, ages 60-69, active, resilient, and largely independent. This group often includes seniors who remain physically active, walk regularly, exercise moderately, and live independently without frequent dizziness, falls, or balance problems. Although aging has begun, their blood vessels often retain enough elasticity to tolerate lower blood pressure levels without compromising brain or muscle perfusion. For many people in this group, the ideal blood pressure zone can sit closer to modern preventive targets, provided the body tolerates those levels comfortably. The primary goal for this group is long-term cardiovascular protection. Lowering blood pressure within a safe and well-tolerated range can significantly reduce the risk of stroke, heart attack, and heart failure over the coming decades. If someone in this group feels steady, alert, energetic, and physically capable at lower readings, doctors may reasonably aim for tighter control. However, even in this younger senior group, symptoms always outweigh numbers. If lowering blood pressure leads to fatigue, lightheadedness, weakness, or reduced exercise tolerance, the target must be reconsidered immediately. The ideal zone is the point where cardiovascular protection and physical performance exist together, rather than competing with each other. Group 2, ages 70-79, moderately complex, independent, but more sensitive. This group represents a transition stage where the biological effects of aging become more noticeable and less forgiving. Arteries are stiffer, reflexes that stabilize blood pressure are slower, and recovery from sudden pressure changes is less reliable. Many seniors in this group manage chronic conditions such as diabetes, early kidney disease, arthritis, or long-standing hypertension. In this stage, the ideal blood pressure zone often shifts slightly higher than in younger seniors. Doctors increasingly prioritize balance between cardiovascular protection and daily stability, rather than aggressive number-driven targets. Readings that appear perfect on paper may no longer feel safe or sustainable in the body itself. For these individuals, preventing dizziness, falls, mental fog, and fatigue becomes just as important as preventing strokes years into the future. Blood pressure targets are usually adjusted gradually, with close attention to symptoms and tolerance rather than speed. The best zone is the one that preserves independence while minimizing unnecessary risk. Group 3, age 80 and above, very old or clinically frail. This group requires the most cautious and individualized approach to blood pressure management. Frailty often means reduced muscle strength, slower reaction time, impaired balance, and very limited physiological reserve. In this stage of life, even modest reductions in blood pressure can trigger significant symptoms. For many individuals in this group, the ideal blood pressure zone is higher than what younger guidelines recommend. The clinical priority shifts clearly toward fall prevention, cognitive clarity, and day-to-day comfort. Preventing one hypothetical stroke 10 years from now matters far less than preventing a serious fall this year. Doctors commonly accept higher readings when the person feels steady, alert, and safe in daily activities. The goal is not numerical perfection, but preservation of dignity, function, and quality of life. At this stage, safety almost always outweighs aggressive preventive strategies. Group 4, seniors with special or high-risk situations, deep personalization required. This group includes seniors of any age whose medical conditions significantly alter blood pressure needs and tolerance. Examples include recurrent falls, orthostatic hypotension, advanced kidney disease, prior stroke, heart failure, Parkinson's disease, or cognitive impairment. In these cases, the ideal blood pressure zone may differ dramatically from standard charts or general recommendations. Some individuals require higher pressures to maintain adequate brain perfusion and prevent confusion or collapse. Others need tighter control to prevent worsening of specific organ damage or cardiovascular complications. Medication burden becomes a central factor in this group. Seniors taking multiple drugs are far more vulnerable to sudden pressure drops, interactions, and cumulative side effects. For them, blood pressure targets must be reviewed frequently and adjusted with great care. This group highlights the most important truth of all. There is no universal ideal blood pressure after 60. The ideal zone is the one that fits your body, your risks, and your daily life. Across all four groups, one principle remains constant. Blood pressure should protect vital organs without stealing balance, mental clarity, or confidence in daily movement. The right zone is not defined by age alone, but by how safely and fully a person can live within it. This framework explains why comparing your numbers to a neighbor's chart is often misleading and emotionally damaging. It also explains why experienced doctors ask about dizziness, falls, energy, and daily function, not just blood pressure readings. Once you understand which group you belong to, blood pressure management becomes far less confusing. It stops being a battle against numbers and becomes a thoughtful conversation about safety, independence, and quality of life. One of the most overlooked truths in senior health is that many blood pressure numbers appear abnormal, not because the body is failing, but because the measurement process itself is flawed. Before debating ideal targets, treatment ranges, or medication changes, seniors must first ask a more fundamental question: are the numbers being recorded truly accurate and representative of daily life? For older adults, even small measurement errors can lead to serious consequences that affect safety, confidence, and long-term health decisions. A reading that looks too high may prompt unnecessary medication increases, while a reading that looks perfect may conceal dangerous drops occurring at other times of day. This is why understanding how, when, and where blood pressure is measured becomes critically important after the age of 60. 1. Clinic blood pressure versus home blood pressure. Not the same thing. Many seniors only check their blood pressure in a doctor's office, believing that this single setting provides the most reliable information. In reality, the clinical environment alone can significantly distort blood pressure readings for many older adults. Some individuals experience what physicians call white coat hypertension, where anxiety or tension during medical visits temporarily elevates blood pressure. At home, under relaxed and familiar conditions, their readings may be much lower and far more stable. Others experience the opposite pattern, known as masked hypertension. Their office readings appear normal, but their blood pressure rises during daily activities, stress, or nighttime hours. This group is particularly dangerous because real cardiovascular risk remains hidden and untreated. For seniors, relying on a single clinic reading is rarely sufficient. True blood pressure control is about identifying patterns over time, not reacting to isolated moments. 2. Why home measurements matter more after 60. Home blood pressure monitoring reveals how the body behaves under real-world conditions rather than artificial clinical settings. It captures how pressure responds to meals, movement, emotional stress, sleep quality, and medication timing. After 60, blood pressure naturally fluctuates more throughout the day due to stiffer arteries and slower nervous system responses. Recovery from sudden pressure changes takes longer, making short-term snapshots unreliable. Because of this complexity, many doctors trust averages collected over several days rather than a single good or bad reading. When done correctly, home measurements often provide the most realistic picture of daily safety and tolerance. 3. Common measurement mistakes seniors make without realizing it. Even at home, blood pressure readings can be inaccurate if basic setup details are overlooked. Many seniors measure immediately after walking, climbing stairs, or engaging in conversation, which temporarily raises pressure. Others sit with crossed legs, unsupported backs, or arms positioned too high or too low relative to the heart. Some unknowingly use cuffs that are too small, too loose, or worn out. Each of these factors can significantly raise or lower readings, sometimes by a meaningful margin. The device itself may be accurate, but the measurement conditions are not. After 60, these details matter more because the margin between safety and risk becomes narrower. 4. The hidden danger of not checking blood pressure while standing. One of the most critical mistakes in senior blood pressure monitoring is never measuring readings while standing. Many older adults experience orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when transitioning from sitting to standing. This dangerous drop does not always appear during seated measurements. A senior may show excellent seated readings yet feel dizzy, weak, or unsteady upon standing. This mismatch explains many unexplained falls and near falls that occur without obvious warning. Measuring blood pressure 1 to 3 minutes after standing can reveal this hidden risk. For seniors, this step is not optional. It is essential for daily safety and fall prevention. 5. Systolic versus diastolic. Why the top number gets more attention after 60. After 60, many individuals develop isolated systolic hypertension. This means the top number rises while the bottom number remains normal or becomes low. This occurs because aging arteries lose elasticity, forcing the heart to push harder against stiffened vessels. As a result, systolic pressure increases even when diastolic pressure does not. At the same time, diastolic pressure may drop too low in some seniors. If it falls excessively, blood flow to the brain and heart can be compromised. This is why experienced doctors monitor both numbers carefully rather than focusing only on whether systolic pressure is high. 6. Why one good reading means almost nothing. Many seniors feel reassured after seeing a single normal reading, while others panic after one elevated number. Neither reaction leads to safe or effective decision-making. Blood pressure changes from minute to minute based on posture, hydration, stress, and activity. What truly matters is the long-term trend, the average values, and how the body feels at those levels. Doctors make informed decisions based on patterns observed over days or weeks, not a single isolated measurement. This approach reduces overtreatment, prevents unnecessary medication changes, and protects seniors from avoidable risk. Before asking, "What should my blood pressure be?" seniors must first ask a more important question. Am I measuring my blood pressure in a way that truly reflects my real daily life? Incorrect measurement creates false fear, false reassurance, and poor health decisions. Accurate measurement creates clarity, safety, and confidence. Once blood pressure readings are reliable, everything else, targets, ranges, and treatment decisions, finally begins to make sense. Now that we understand why blood pressure numbers can be misleading and dangerous when misinterpreted, the next step is learning how to act safely and intelligently using a clear, practical framework. After 60, the safest blood pressure strategy is not aggressive intervention, but informed, steady monitoring combined with clear communication between you and your healthcare provider. You do not need to change medications on your own or react impulsively to individual readings in order to protect your health and independence. What you truly need is a structured, practical framework that helps you and your doctor make calmer, safer, and better decisions together over time. 1. The 7-day home blood pressure plan. For most seniors, a single blood pressure reading provides very little meaningful information about real cardiovascular risk. Patterns collected consistently over an entire week reveal how your body actually behaves in everyday life. Measure your blood pressure twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, under calm and consistent conditions. Sit quietly for at least 5 minutes before measuring to allow your heart rate and circulation to stabilize. Keep both feet flat on the floor, your back supported, and your measuring arm resting comfortably at heart level. Take 2 readings 1 minute apart and record the average rather than focusing on a single number. Repeat this routine for 7 consecutive days to capture a realistic pattern. At the end of the week, focus on overall trends instead of reacting to the highest or lowest individual readings. 2. Add symptoms to the numbers. Blood pressure readings without symptoms represent incomplete and potentially misleading information. Each day, briefly note whether you experience dizziness, lightheadedness, unsteadiness, near falls, fatigue, weakness, blurred vision, or mental confusion. If symptoms appear when blood pressure readings are lower, that information becomes critically important for safe treatment decisions. 3. Check blood pressure while standing. At least twice during the week, measure your blood pressure not only while seated, but also after standing. First, record a reading after sitting quietly, then measure again 1 to 3 minutes after standing upright. A significant drop during standing may explain dizziness, weakness, or unexplained falls. This simple step alone has prevented countless injuries and hospitalizations in older adults. 4. Do not chase single readings. One high blood pressure number does not automatically mean danger, and one low number does not guarantee success. Blood pressure naturally fluctuates throughout the day due to posture, hydration, stress, and activity. Reacting emotionally to single readings often leads to unnecessary medication changes and increased risk. Instead, focus on weekly averages and how your body actually feels at those levels. 5. Know when to contact your doctor promptly. Seek medical advice sooner rather than later if you notice repeated dizziness, fainting, worsening confusion, or multiple near falls. Contact your doctor promptly after any actual fall, persistently very high readings, or sudden changes in vision or speech. These are safety signals that require attention, not minor inconveniences to ignore. 6. Never adjust medication alone. Blood pressure medications interact closely with hydration, nutrition, sleep patterns, and other prescribed drugs. Changing doses without medical guidance can destabilize the entire cardiovascular system. Bring your home blood pressure records and symptom notes to medical appointments. This allows your doctor to make careful, thoughtful adjustments when they are truly needed. 7. Focus on stability, not perfection. The safest blood pressure is one that allows you to stand up confidently, walk without fear, think clearly, and live independently. Numbers should support your daily life and safety, not control your decisions or create unnecessary anxiety. Conclusion: after 60, the most important lesson about blood pressure is that safety matters more than chasing a perfect number. There is no single reading that guarantees health, independence, or long life for every senior. What truly matters is finding a blood pressure range your body can tolerate without dizziness, weakness, or fear of falling. Lower numbers can protect the heart and brain, but only when they do not steal balance or clarity. Higher numbers are not automatically dangerous when they allow you to stand, walk, and think steadily each day. This balance is the real definition of ideal after 60. Your age, strength, medical conditions, and daily symptoms all shape that ideal zone. That is why comparing your numbers to someone else's chart often leads to confusion and anxiety. Good blood pressure care is not about perfection, but about personalization. It is about protecting your future without harming your present. Understanding how to measure correctly gives you power instead of fear. Paying attention to symptoms gives your body a voice in the process. Working with ranges instead of rigid targets keeps treatment flexible and safe. Most importantly, it helps preserve independence, which is what seniors value most. If this explanation helped you see blood pressure differently, it can help someone you love as well. Please consider sharing this video with a friend or family member over 60. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you watching from? How old are you? And do you usually measure your blood pressure at home? If you want more clear, honest guidance for senior health, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Together, we can replace fear with understanding and protect independence for the years ahead.